Yeah, well, my name is Marshall Almarode, and I live in Kennewick, Washington. Been here almost all my life, born and raised. My great-grandparents buried in the cemetery. My mom was born here in a house and died here in a house. So I'm a local guy, just, you know, average Joe. However, I think one thing about me is I've taken Jesus seriously, and I don't think people do that too much. It's like, well, I believe in Jesus, and it's kind of a casual thing. You're either all in or you're all out. So when I look at this sign here, it says God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And I think of, you know, when I was a kid, homosexuality was something that no one wanted to talk about. And if you were one, you were somebody weird and there was something wrong with you. And today, it's like it's A-okay. Really? Well, what changed? I mean, what changed was they kept trying to say, well, it's got to be, you know, it can't be homos, it can't be, we got to try it bisexual, we got to use all these different words, and pretty soon they can't even use words because the words are so negative, they end up being negative. So now they just got to use letters. You know, A, B, G, T, whatever they want to call it, it's a bunch of letters. Why? Because they're ashamed to say what they are. And they're ashamed of the whole thing. They can't even get it right. So it's like, well, let's just do LGBTQ or whatever they want to do, and we're all okay. Well, pretty soon they're going to be having sex with animals, and they're going to say that's okay too. So, you know, get a clue, wake up, the Bible's true. So, I just happened to see this sign, come over here to Carl's Jr., and I see this truck with a sign here, beware of Islam, Mormonism, Watchtower, Jesus is Lord, cults. And I think, you know, there should be more people who stand up for Jesus. And the problem is, people don't stand up for Jesus anymore. It's like, they'll go to church, they'll read their Bible, they'll pray, and then they do nothing. It's like, you know, you need to put your faith in action. So take that faith and do something with it. So seeing somebody that's actually bold and says, you know what, there's a problem here. Did Jesus say there was a problem? Yes, he did. Well, why don't we agree? I mean, you're gonna follow Jesus, you can't just do part of it. You gotta do it all. And part of it is, are these guys right? If they're right, go join them. The problem is, if they're wrong, they're teaching people how to go to hell. And too many people don't think hell exists. I remember when my dad died, somebody came up to me at the funeral, patted me on the back and said, well, your dad's in a better place. And I looked at him, and he's a friend of mine, I can't remember who he is right now, and I said, how do you know that? He said, well, because he was a good guy. And I turned to him and I said, I don't recall that's how you get there. And he just went, and took off. So, I mean, I hear people all the time praying to their mom. They go to the grave site and they pray to their mom like they're all everywhere present. Your mom can't hear you. Your dad can't hear you. Your kids can't hear you. All the dead people can't hear you. The Virgin Mary can't hear you. The only person who can hear you is an omnipresent God. If you think they can hear you, you've elevated them to the level of God without calling him God. That's exactly what the Catholic Church does with the Virgin Mary. They pray to the Virgin Mary, they pray to saints, they've elevated them to the level of God because they think they can hear the prayers. That's not real. So the bottom line is, if you're not going to stand for Jesus, sit down.